Hello everyone, I'm Tommy with Studio Sense. Today I'm going to be featuring 5 blind buy fragrances and featuring hopefully the best in affordability, or really a mix of affordability and quality. I've got houses such as Versace, Gucci, Perry Ellis, Varvatos. When we return, we're going to go over our list, that and more, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back. And I know that I've done a lot of fragrance hauls lately, and I'm about ready to slow down and start getting into some other interesting topics in my actual videos, so I really appreciate your patience. But the one thing I love about fragrance hauls, and blind buys especially, is that, have you ever run across a fragrance that you've heard maybe 1 or 2 people discuss, but you're still not sure, and you watch a fragrance review or someone else's first impression and you're like, that's it, that's exactly what I was looking for. You get a little bit of piece of information that those other reviews were missing. I'm hoping that maybe I can be that missing link for you, that you may have been thinking about purchasing a fragrance, and maybe you'll see some information in my first impressions video and unboxing and really enjoy it, and that'll be the kind of like the tipping point, like Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point. I can be that tipping point for you. So the first fragrance that we're going to look at today is a designer fragrance from John Varvatos. Varvatos Vintage was released in 2006. It was created by perfumist Rodrigo Flores Rowe. It is pretty popular when you go to any of the discounter websites in terms of how they rate the fragrances. This gets usually a pretty good rating, so I've been intrigued about it for a while, so let's go ahead and check out that presentation for John Varvatos Vintage. I've always enjoyed the Varvatos kind of look presentation of the bottles, like the wicker for the Artisan and Artisan Pure. Same bottle shape, just a little bit different. Got like a leather band, a dark brown leather band going around it that feels really nice. Kind of a dark brown coloration in the bottle, and then just your basic gold cap. But it's relatively simplistic, but it looks really nice, elegant, classic man's style. So let's go ahead and get to the juice. In the top we've got Santolina, juniper berry, and white lavender. Heart notes of jasmine, patchouli, and fir balsam, resting on a base of tobacco, tonka bean, and suede. So this expectation is going to be darker, more for cooler summer nights or cooler like fall into winter weather. Atomizer sprays quite a bit in a wide array instead of a sharper stream. Make sure to hold it close to your skin, as I'm kind of a close sprayer myself. Yes, very classic, very nice. Definitely worthy of a blind buy. So the juniper berry makes this very bracing. The white lavender gives it a little bit more of a kick. So you've got that Santolina and the jasmine, so you've got some florals, you've got some bracing essential oils in here, with the fir balsam, the suede, and the tonka being in the base. It has kind of a smooth leathery appeal without an actual leather note in it. So it's again attributable to the base of tonka, suede, and a mix of that jasmine and juniper and patchouli. I'm going to go ahead and try it on skin. I love how things open up so much more on skin. I've always said, and will always say on my channel, that strips lie. They don't really give you the whole truth. They just give you a little bit of the truth. So it's great for sampling, but if you're thinking about purchasing a fragrance, especially if you're in a department store and it's a $100 fragrance, spray it on your skin. It's going to smell completely different than it does on the strip. So this opens up quite a bit more. It really brings in that light sweetness from the tonka bean. The fir balsam gives it kind of that dusty, rough, almost like the sensation of a tactile leather, which is really nice. So like vintage, it also kind of has a throwback appeal to it, a little bit of a throwback appeal as well. So Varvatos Vintage is going to be a great daytime, nighttime, casual wear fragrance. I would say though, this is canting more for nighttime wear. It's going to be a really good date night fragrance as well. It's very masculine, it's very appealing, very sexy. So perfect for cooler weather, but also the cooler nights of summer. You can make use of this as well. Our next fragrance is from the house of Perry Ellis. It is called Perry Ellis Reserve for men. Perry Ellis Reserve was created by a Firmenich perfumist, and it was released in the year 2000. It's very familiar, but let's check out that presentation. So I know in my recent hauls I've featured quite a few of the Perry Ellis line, so I was curious about Perry Ellis Reserve for men. I hadn't actually heard anything about it. It is in the same bottle presentation as the 360 line, so this is not a 360 per se, it is a Reserve. Let's see how it compares to the 360 Red, which is also really good, the very blue, which is more of a slightly synthetic but a nice alternative blue fragrance for spring and summer. Tell you one thing, that atomizer shoots a ton of juice out in a very straight line. Like you could almost like have some pinpoint accuracy with that. Okay, edging closer and closer to just a standard shower gel fresh soapy fragrance. More on the shower gel fresh than on the soapy. So similar to maybe like the Axe, like the lightly generic or derivative Axe line of shampoos and body sprays. That's kind of what this reminds me of. I wouldn't buy this again. You can get this online for 20 bucks. I paid 15 for it at a rack store. And so I don't feel like I got ripped off or anything. This is, it might be a quick dumb reach, quick grab, fresh out of the shower kind of fragrance, but it's gonna have like average to below average longevity. It's one of those fragrances that I feel is going to sit close to the skin. I'll go ahead and illustrate that for you though, instead of don't take my word for it. We'll give it just a moment to dry a little bit. There's a portion of this that I actually like. It's very warm in the nose, right off the skin. When you on a tester strip, it doesn't have anywhere to go. It's very linear, it's very flat. But again, it's just a basic shower gel freshie. So if you're looking for an alternative basic shower gel freshie, this might be your guy. It's a little bit more on the shower gel than it is on the sudsy. I really like much better than this, the Perry Ellis 360. It's got more of like a luxurious hotel soap kind of feel to it, similar to Prada L'Homme or Alfred Dunhill Century. Next up is a fragrance that's taken quite a bit of heat in the fragrance community. Some say that it's not as good as the original. It's a reformulation, which it is true, it's a reformulation. The fragrance, of course, that I'm referring to is Gucci Pour Homme, the one that was released in 2006, I believe. No, not 2006, I'm sorry, 2008. The perfumist is Frida Giannini, a Javadan perfumist. Some people really love it, say it's sexy, it's mysterious, it's really nice. Some people say it's not that at all, it's not that great. It seems to be kind of 50-50 or maybe 60-40, 60 being for, 40 not being for. So I'm gonna test it out today and give you my thoughts on this, at least in terms of the first impression. So let's check out that presentation. I've seen pictures of the bottle and the presentation, but I have to say, up close and personal, it's so much better. It's really nice. It's very elegant, it's very manly, it's very classic. It's a beautiful, beautiful bottle. I really like that. Super heavy, thick glass on the bottom, so very weighted. So there's no gradient there, but it's just like transparent. but it's almost like a smoky, really light smoky colored glass, which is nice. And then of course, contrasted with the silver, and then you've got the movable latch on the very top that says Gucci. I don't know if I showed you that close enough. You can see that where it says Gucci there, which is really nice. And then of course, Gucci Pour Homme on the front. And this of course is a lid that pops right off. Wouldn't hold it by the lid, but obviously you can. It's very well made, of course, as are most Gucci products. In the top, you've got bergamot, violet, and cypress. In the mid, you've got jasmine and tobacco leaf, resting on a base of amber, elemi resin, and patchouli. Now, this has been called a tobacco fragrance, so I'm very curious about what kind of tobacco fragrance it is, because tobacco fragrances can be literally any number of things. So let's check it out and see if it follows that green territory. Atomizer is fantastic, as are most Gucci atomizers. Okay, so this is probably the highest in terms of cost of any of the fragrances in this haul today. So it's going to cost a little bit more, edging closer to right around the $57 mark on Fragrance X. Again, if you're interested in purchasing any of these, even the Perry Ellis Reserve, which I got at a rack store, you can get it at Fragrance X. I'll list the actual links in the description below if you're interested in purchasing. That's a super sexy tobacco. That is very, very masculine, very sexy. It's got a slight air of mystery, like it's not revealing, especially obviously on a linear strip, it's not revealing all the notes all at once, but you definitely get that tobacco leaf in there. I'm gonna try it out on skin. Ran out of room on this, on my left arm. Let's try my right. Right here on the wrist. Wow, okay, so it actually kind of, in an odd little way, not in a, if you remove the leather note, aka the suede and the tonka, from Varvatos Vintage, it is reminiscent of Gucci Pour Homme. Reminiscent, not like it at all. It's the same ilk of the same type of fragrance. The amber, the violet, the elemi resin gives it a slightly resinous, but very modern, sophisticated appeal. Any naysayers of this fragrance just have a beef with it. This is a very, very good, solid, super solid fragrance. I can't wait to wear it. It's super seductive. It's got a really sophisticated modern twist to it. It's a very comfort-driven fragrance in this time that we're living in, where we want to feel better about tomorrow, the next day. This would be a nice fragrance to kind of turn to get you to feeling a little bit better, almost like gourmand fragrances make you feel a little bit better. Gucci Pour Homme. Can't wait to try it out. This is definitely going to be something that you want to wear more in cooler weather, like in going into fall, going into winter. But again, as I keep saying, there are some cool nights. There are some nights where it gets 60 degrees or lower. In the summer months, those cool nights would be perfect for this fragrance. Or if you're stuck all day in a temperature controlled environment, Gucci Pour Homme would be a fantastic office scent. So looking forward to wearing this a lot more. Next up is a fragrance that has been known as the starter oud or an entry-level oud, and I'll explain what that means in a moment, but it's from the house of Versace and is Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. This fragrance is, if you own a bottle of Versace's Dylan Blue or the Versace Pour Homme, which is a fantastic, very citrusy, bergamoty spring and summer fragrance, then you're familiar with the presentation of Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. It's the exact same bottle, but let's go ahead and check out that presentation. Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. So very familiar presentation. Again, Versace Pour Homme, Versace Dylan Blue, same exact bottle type. So you've got the Medusa head Versace logo in gold in the middle. The cap is black, and on the very top, you've got that same design that goes around Eros. So it's a very familiar, a very Versace type fragrance in terms of the presentation. And I really like that very dark to a light brown gradient. Starts from the bottom and lightens as it goes to the top. Gorgeous bottle. Top notes of bitter orange, neroli, and pepper. Mid notes of cardamom, saffron, and frankincense, resting on a base of oud, leatherwood, and patchouli. Let's check out that juice. Atomizer is excellent. The array is very wide. It's a powerful jet. Sprays a lot of juice. Very nice. Oud is such a powerful punch of an aroma. It's been called musty, it's been called pungent, it's been called sour, it's been called fecal, animalic. There are a ton of different fragrance adjectives that you can use to describe oud, but the meaning behind starter oud or entry-level oud means that they've pulled back on the oud, or they've mixed just the right notes to make it more easily assimilated. And less challenging. So this is a very, very non-challenging oud. It still packs that punch though, so it is very pungent, it is very aromatic. I definitely want to try this out on skin. So I'm going to go to the top of my hand here. One spray is really all you need. Wow, it warms it up and gives it so much body once this or any fragrance hits your skin. The combination of that warmth and your body's oils really bring the fragrance to life. So primarily you've got that oud and that leatherwood and that patchouli giving it a dark, earthy sensibility. In the same way that some people feel Gucci Pour Homme might be unisex, which I would agree. It's eminently wearable in terms of versatility. Much broader than this is, because I wouldn't call this unisex. With the bitter orange, neroli, the pepper, and the leatherwood and the patchouli, it's definitely going the masculine route, but it is a very versatile masculinity. This, however, because it is so darkly masculine, it's going to be perfect for nighttime wear. You can wear it in the daytime. Wouldn't recommend wearing it to the office or where a lot of people are going to be gathered, obviously within 6 feet of each other. It's going to be something that will get you noticed. If that's your goal, then this will definitely do it, but it might be a little heavy-handed or cloying to wear in those types of situations. Just a few sprays will be sufficient for this. Fantastic oud-based fragrance. One of the best entry-level or starter ouds out there. Zero challenge to this, but in a good way, in an extremely wearable, versatile way. So daytime, but specifically nighttime, casual wear fragrance. I guess you could dress it up, just like you could dress Gucci Pour Homme up if you wanted to, primarily for casual wear. Definitely fall, cooler weather. Again, if you're in a temperature controlled environment all day long with not a ton of people around you, rock this out. Enjoy it because it's wonderful. Oftentimes rose or a tuberose is connected to oud-based fragrances, but in this one, they substitute that with like saffron, cardamom with a little bit of sweet creaminess there. And this one is probably the second most expensive in this list, but still yet very affordable, very economical. You can get it on fragrancex.net for about $55, a 100 ml bottle. Next up is a fragrance house and a fragrance that you've never heard of. I certainly had never heard of it prior to seeing it, and it's one of those that I just ran across and it was so cheap that I couldn't say no. Plus, I have Nordic or Norwegian background in my family. That's primarily our history tree is Norwegian. Some Swedish, some Norwegian, so I couldn't pass it up. And it is from the house of Canon, and it is called Norwegian Wood. Expecting hopefully kind of a lightly sweet, or maybe no sweetness at all, who knows, but a very woody fragrance, kind of similar to Bulgari wood essence, maybe something like that, or along the lines of Issey Miyake's Wood and Wood. Let's go ahead and check out first that presentation.
All I want is round, found you, did it all alone.
What about that cap though? That's I felt for a second that I was pulling out like a salt grinder. Not really super keen on the lower half of the bottle. It's okay. The label looks kind of cheap. The bottle looks kind of simplistic and cheap. It's okay looking. Honestly, this was 10 bucks, so I'm not like expecting it to be some super fancy, awesome fragrance, but occasionally I do like to go over even really inexpensive fragrances just in case you're thinking of purchasing them. So if you'd run across this before and you were thinking or wondering whether it was good for 10 bucks, let's go ahead and find out. The tops, you've got aniseed, you've got lemon, you've got key lime, and grapefruit. Jasmine, lavender, frankincense, and woods, various woods, are in the heart. Musk, Haitian vetiver, cedar wood, sandalwood, and vanilla are in the base of Norwegian wood. So let's go ahead and check out the juice. The atomizer is actually pretty good. It sprays a decent array with a bit of juice out. No. Absolutely not. So, I mean, I'm kind of glad that I got this because it's a cautionary tale. It's a warning to you that, now obviously I'm being quick to make judgment. I'm doing what I always told myself not to do, and that is being quick to judge something off a strip. So let's try it on skin. I only want to spray one of those because I'm probably going to wash it off in a moment. It's, you know, compared to the other fragrances that we've been talking about today, it's pretty bad. So I remember when I was young in the 70s, I'd walk by the bathroom and my mother would be getting ready for work and she'd be spraying Aquanet in her hair, because that's what women used back then, I guess. And it was just this big cloud of cloying, massive, synthetic smelling stuff that just hung in the air. And that's what this reminds me of. To its credit, it's got a light, dusty, almost like you're walking through a sawmill, lightly nebulous wood smell or wood odor, but it's just a bunch of gunked up synthetic stuff thrown together and called Norwegian woods. This has nothing to do with Norwegian woods, trust me. It's warming up and owning up a little bit in the dry down, but just a little bit. Some of that synthetic's going away. I can catch a little bit of the woods and just a hint of vanilla. So it's lightly vanillic, lightly woody, but mostly kind of a synthetic mess. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time talking about a $10 fragrance, Canon's Norwegian Wood. I was just curious. My curiosity is sated. If you are curious about this ever, then hopefully it will also satisfy your curiosity. I would not blind buy this. Even as a starter fragrance for someone younger or someone who really likes woody fragrances, I would not necessarily go this route. But if you're looking for a light dusting of wood, a little bit of Scotia vanilla, and mostly aroma chemical mess, this might be your guy for 10 bucks. Well guys, that's it for my fragrance haul today, and talking about John Varvatos Vintage, Gucci Pour Homme, Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir, Perry Ellis Reserve for men, and of course lastly the very epic and wonderful Canon Norwegian Wood. I really appreciate you stopping by and watching. If you were considering purchasing any of these, click on any of the links listed in the description and get them from Fragrance X with free shipping. If you own any of these, please let us know what your experience has been like in the comments below. Thanks again so much for stopping by. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. It means the world to me. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.
Looking down your phone.